Fellas, lady fellas, and from Real Society, welcome to the Fantasy and Reality Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Tacker. Today, in the ridiculously over-decorated studio, we'll be talking about those double Ds. And no, not what you're thinking of. Today, I'm talking about those double-digit value guys you can get super late that can help your team out and try to build the best team that you can without having to reach, overpay for guys, or try too hard in the first few rounds and feel discouraged if you don't get the top tiered guys. So these are guys that are going to be super late, can get you a good amount of points, and you have very low risk, low draft capital in them due to them being in the double digit rounds. So without further ado, let's get started. So this first double D guy I have is Matthew Stafford. So Matthew Stafford's ADP is the 14th round. He's going round 14, pick 8. He's quarterback 24 as of right now. He's always been consistent. Last year we know he had those broken bones in his back, so he wasn't quite the Stafford that he's been the last few years. He has 8 full seasons played, and he's been a top 12 quarterback 6 out of those 8 years. He has 20 plus touchdowns every year since becoming a starter. In 2017, he had the 4th most pass attempts with 566. He had the 5th most red zone attempts with 78, and he had the 9th most deep ball passes with 64. And then last year in 2018, he had the 11th most pass attempts with 555. He had the 12th most red zone attempts last year with 72, and 24th in most deep ball passes with 50. So as you can see, he took a bit of a tumble, but as we all know, he was injured. He had a lot of injuries on his team. Marvin Jones got hurt. Golden Tate got shipped off halfway through the season. So this is a guy that is coming off of injury. He'll be healthy. He has Kenny G, Marvin Jones, Kerryon Johnson, CJ Anderson, and they also have the rookie TJ Hawkinson, who I think, even though it's not usually good to draft a rookie tight end, I think he'll be one of those that you can get in the late round as well. I don't think he's going to be looked at very much. Even though he had that down year, I don't think it's going to continue. So I feel like people have just written him off based on the one mediocre season that he's had. So I think Stafford would be a good late value pick because I spent a lot of time picking very good, well-rounded guys in the first 10 rounds. That way I didn't have to waste a pick on a quarterback, that I can get one that does a decent job, gets a fair amount of points way late in the draft, and I didn't have to worry about it. So Matthew Stafford, I'm looking at his double Ds. So a running back that I have on my double D list is Damien Harris. His ADP is just inside the 10th round, so that's why I qualified him. His ADP is a 10th round, 2nd pick as of now. He's running back 43. Now, the Patriots have the 2nd easiest schedule for running backs, and as a team last year, they got 75 yards in every single game except for one, including the playoffs. So you know they want to run the ball a decent amount of time. They don't want Tom Brady to hold on to the ball too much. He's aging. We want to keep him on the field and keep him upright, and getting the ball out of his hands quicker is the way to do that. They also got over 150 yards 8 of the 19 games, including playoffs, that they played last season. So you know they want to run the rock. They have multiple rushing scores in 6 games last year. So if they want to run the ball a lot more, they're going to need a running back that they can count on, depend on. That way he can take a lot of the load off of Tom Brady and have someone in the backfield that can get out real quick. So the Patriots are looking for that back that can fit in their system because of not wanting Tom Brady to hold on to the ball too much. Now with Tony's knee scope, there's questions of if he'll be healthy, when is he going to be healthy? And so for those reasons, I feel that Damien Harris is going to get more work. And I feel that Burkhead won't be there much longer because, in my opinion, Damien Harris is a more well-rounded and a better Burkhead. So if they have that Burkhead role, plus he's an all-around better runner, then I feel like Damien Harris will be a very good value. I mean, like I said, he's going in the 14th round. So with all these guys, there's very low risk. If they don't pan out, you can always drop them, catch someone on the waiver wire. But if they do pan out, then you'll look like a genius, like you knew the whole time that they were going to break out. And you got to steal them in almost the last round. The next guy I have on this list is Malcolm Brown. His ADP is 14th round first pick, and he's running back 65 as of right now. Now, the reason I have him in this list and not Darrell Henderson is because Henderson is going before the double-digit rounds, and this video is strictly double-digit guys that could get you value. Todd Gurley, not 100%. That knee problem, inflammation will happen with the arthritis in the knee this season, so they're going to limit his touches, so someone has to get those. And if Henderson and Brown split the carries that Gurley does not get, you don't want to spend a high draft capital on Henderson if he's getting the same workload as Brown 10 rounds later. So they're either going to run Gurley into the ground or preserve him so he'll lose touches. That way he can go all the way to the end of the season. Right now, Henderson is going in the 6th round. So 6th round for this workload or almost an identical workload in the 14th round. So you're going to get a better value with Brown if they're going to get the same amount of work when Todd Gurley is not on the field. Basically a no-risk guy going that could potentially be a split number 1 back if Todd Gurley were to go down. He'd be a much more valuable guy. One receiver that I have on this list is Deebo Samuel. His ADP is 14th round 6th spot right now. He's the wide receiver 66. He's 5'11", 214. His 40 time is 4.48. So he's a decently fast guy. He is very productive in his senior year of college, and he could be the 3rd piece to go to make that dominating triangle in San Francisco, along with Dante Pettis and George Kittle. Retired defensive end Stephen White called Deebo Samuel fearless based on how this guy plays. If this guy is called fearless by a former defensive player, you know that he means business. He can go to the middle of the field, catch a slant route between the hash marks, and you won't have to worry about if he's going to get nervous if he hears footsteps and drops that ball. He also said that Samuel is a skilled player and not afraid to get his hands dirty. So he's not afraid of contact. So he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's not afraid to hit a guy. He's not afraid of contact. So you don't have to worry about him dropping balls because he's scared to get hit. He's also good at red zone slants. So like I said, if he goes in the middle of the field, you don't have to worry about him dropping balls. And if he's in the red zone, he could have that high touchdown upside. He's going to be right in the middle of the field, easy, in view. He might get those heavy traffic catches and vulture some touchdowns from Pettis and George Kittle. I also think he's going to rack up on some yards after the catch. I think he's going to be great. Every ball he catches, I think he's going to take it quite a ways. Like I said, he's not the type of guy who's scared to get hit, so he's not going to go down as soon as he catches the ball. He's going to go, not avoid contact, and try to run as hard as he can at whoever he can. Now, the only downside to this, he might be too aggressive, and this might cause fumbles if he's too fearless and doesn't hold on to the ball. But as long as he doesn't have any turnovers, then he should definitely be a good guy to get because he can create those long plays. He can also be that deep target guy if Jimmy G wants to go to him. But if he doesn't see a lot of deep targets, like I said, he's a yak freak, so he can catch a short pass and possibly take it to the house. So if you're looking for a 5th or 6th receiver, I think Deebo Samuel in the 14th, possibly 15th round will be a very valuable guy. Another guy I have on this list that I'm pretty high on is Anthony Miller. His current ADP is 12th round, 5th pick, and he's wide receiver 52 as of now. Now last year he wasn't 100% all throughout the season. He had that shoulder injury. He had multiple games where you could see that he was in pain. His shoulder would dislocate and he would continue to play. So this guy is a beast. Playing through an injury is very difficult to do, especially with a shoulder injury being a receiver. You know you're going to have to put your hands in the air, catch the ball, and get hit. So that's a lot of wear and tear on that shoulder. He waited until the offseason to have that shoulder surgery, so I think he should definitely be 100%. And he only started 4 games last season. But his stats through the first 10 games, 29 receptions, 358 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And after week 10, the rest of the season, he was only able to get 7 receptions for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. And most of those touchdowns that he got were in the red zone. He had 11 targets for 7 receptions and 5 touchdowns in the red zone. He had 13.41% of the red zone target share last season. He's a well-rounded player. He's a great route runner. He's tall. He's fast. He plays tough. He's very physical in the slot. He's a similar receiver to Allen Robinson, but I feel that Anthony Miller with 100% health and a lot of targets could surpass Robinson for that number one receiver slot on his team. So if you can get a potential number one receiver on a team in the 14th round, if he falls that far, if not, snag him up in the 12th. I would be very happy to get an Anthony Miller in the 12th, especially with the upside that he has. He could potentially see 7 touchdowns, mostly in the red zone, but he also has the potential to have that long break and take one to the house from 50 yards out. So the tight end that I have on this list, I talked about his quarterback earlier. It's TJ Hockenson. His ADP is 12th round, 7th spot. He's the tight end 12 as of right now. And as I said earlier, a lot of people kind of deter from trying to pick a rookie tight end because we don't know how they'll do. They usually don't do very well. But Matthew Stafford is a gunslinger. He's going to throw it to whoever he can. They're going to run a lot with Kerryon. I'm also high on him this year. But I feel like TJ Hockenson is a good tight end piece that they were missing. Similar to the New Orleans Saints. When they had Jimmy Graham, they were fantastic. He was a top 3 tight end. But then after Graham left, they couldn't quite fill that spot with the other tight ends that came into New Orleans. So now that they have Jared Cook, same situation. I think that was the talent that they were missing in order to propel the tight end position to be fantasy relevant. So I think that being in Detroit, Hockenson is going to be fantasy relevant. And going in the 12th round, he could be your number 2 tight end. He's an all-around great player, including blocking. So unlike Jimmy Graham, he's a very good blocker. So he should definitely see a lot of snaps. He's 6'5", 251 pounds. So he's a big guy. So I'm thinking he's going to go up there and command targets. If he can get separation from those defenders and out-muscle them and use his height to his advantage, I think he's going to be a decent tight end this year. I mean, if he goes for 650 yards and 4 touchdowns, that's not bad for a rookie tight end. And he was a first-round pick. So they should definitely throw targets his way. Plus, Golden Tate left, so all those targets have to be split up. And I feel like he's going to be most effective in the red zone and 10 zone because he's a big guy. Stafford should see him and know right away that I'm going to throw the ball to Hockenson. He's going to catch it. He's going to get a touchdown. I think that he's going to be a top 12 to maybe top 10 tight end in fantasy this year. I'm super high on TJ Hockenson late in the double-digit rounds. So those were my double Ds. Let me know what you think. Are you high on these guys? Are you low? What do you think about my list so far? Do you think it would be wise to spend very low capital on these guys who could produce? Who are some guys that you feel in the double-digit rounds that could potentially be a star on your team? Let me know. I always want to know what you're thinking. That way I can teach you something, you can teach me something. But as always, thank you for tuning in and thank you for all your support. Leave your feedback, questions, topic suggestions down in the comment section below. We will try to answer any and all questions that you have. And remember, sports are supposed to be enjoyed together. So please tell someone about us, watch it together, critique us, laugh about us, whatever. We want to get out there, we want to tell people what we have to say because I feel like our information is valuable. Because we want to make you the best fantasy football player that you can be. So don't forget to smash that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button so we can keep this channel going. Like I said, we want to make you the best fantasy player that you can be. We want to impart our knowledge onto you to try to make you better. Lastly, God bless America and God bless fantasy football. Take care.